always ensure that instead of just spreading things on social media,
Uh-huh.
bring people to your own website.
Okay.
Rest is all, rented land. It
Uh-huh.
can just get done away with at any point in time. But
Yeah.
your own website is the place which should be the main one. So
Okay.
I'm still trying to work on that,
Uh-huh.
but bring those people there.
Hmm.
There you can always uh, deal with them better, treat them better, and that is where you can also educate them about your product and
Hmm.
services if you are looking. So same way businesses do. They just don't go and sell on, say, social media.
Yeah.
They just go, they do it in a way, but they bring people to their websites.
Welcome everyone to another episode of ULab Central. So today I'm joined with Ajay from KJ Masterclass. So Ajay, would you like to tell our audience why they should be excited about this conversation?
Absolutely, absolutely. Aditya, thank you so much for inviting me to your, very fast-growing show. I'm a fan of this particular show of yours. So, in terms of why should they be excited? Firstly, it's on your podcast. So obviously, they should be excited about your podcast. So that is exciting enough. In terms of this particular episode, I will talk about, about making use of a podcast best as a, if you are a listener itself, how you can, use podcasts for your own growth. There is so much of knowledge, so much of, things that you would perhaps, know want to know, but you don't know where to go. And that is where podcast will come as a listener, as a, if you want to be a podcast guest, or are trying to be a podcast guest, or are a podcast guest but not being able to leverage it
Mhm.
very well, then I can certainly bring you, you know, uh, lessons from that. I've hosted more than 2,000 podcast guests on my own show, so I can give you some sort of a things that a podcast host would perhaps look for, and as a guest who keep on sharing things, what problems they face and how they can solve. So from that point of view, and also if you want to become a podcast host, then this is the best time in the time, in all times, to become a
Yeah.
podcast host and host great conversations like Aditya is doing.
So thank you so much, Ajay. Those kind words mean a lot. But so let's dive into the topic that you mentioned, right? As a listener, first I'll go for the listeners because they're the most important people right now because they're the ones who are listening and watching, right? So for them, as you mentioned, gaining knowledge from an episode that they can listen to or watch while they're sitting doing something else, and it just knowledge just flows into their minds, right? So, what's the best way to look for a podcast in a topic that you're interested in, right? Where do we start?
Absolutely. So my show is more, even though it talks about business, it talks about health, it talks about, several other things, but actually it's all about education, and education mainly for people who are wanting to know, not the biggest experts. I bring in the experts for the audience so that, they get to hear. So in terms of business, suppose somebody wants to know about business, or somebody wants to is having a problem in a business and wants those answers. So who is the best person? The best person is the expert who is doing it day in and day out for
Yeah.
themselves, or who have already done it. So those sort of things you will find on my particular show. In terms of health and fitness, so they are all there on the KJ Masterclass live, but I do live shows. And if you want to go much more on a themed conversation, then the, selected episodes, they are put on, onto my theme channels, which are, in terms of business and entrepreneurship and business and money and healing and all those things. We have got, even on tech and AI, we have got themes like that. Now, as a listener, firstly look at it, just like you search for Google gives you answers. You can
Mm.
deep answers you can always get from podcasts. And it's not that you have to come to my podcast, though there are many conversations. You are not listening to me. I only do what Aditya does. We try and ask as many relevant questions for the audience. So there, in terms of, you find those experts who are going to solve your problem, not only in just our podcast, but also any other podcast that you. So as a listener, don't always go and search for things only on Google or on Chat GPT or any of these AI tools, but podcast can be a great place for you in terms of learning and learning from people who are directly doing it for themselves in any of the areas. And this is going to grow very, very fast in the coming days. You can, you can get all the answers in segments. Maybe only one part of the podcast is answering one particular, your biggest query, that will answer it. And even now, you see, you podcasts are available in everywhere, that any place that you want to, even on Google, YouTube podcast, you can use it on audio, you can use it on video, in any format. And there, Google search, in YouTube search, you can obviously find it. Even other places also, all there is indexing is going on everywhere, and you can find the right podcast. You can go to Apple, Spotify, and any of the places, but find the right kind of podcast, listen to them, and if it helps, you will find that these are the people who are actually experts in their own field. That is one way, as a listener, I can say.
Okay. Now, since you mentioned, right, you talk about business and you brought guests. Okay. Now, I've had a lot of guests who are business experts, who are business people, who are having their own business, coming and trying to talk about their business. But when somebody is out there trying to look for opportunities to become a guest, right, uh, I do receive quite a couple of mails every month, not so big right now that I'll receive a lot of mails every day, but yeah, I do receive a few mails every month saying that yeah, this is something that I want to talk about. Probably you would like to, but this is a form of cold mailing that is kind of like old fashioned, right? Are there any tools that you have seen or are aware of where people can go and get this stuff done, automated or something of that sort?
Absolutely. So the best way, if you are just starting out, the best way is to, start out for people who in one way or the other. This will, what will happen is, this will give you better chances to appear on those podcasts.
Yeah.
Moreover, you will be comfortable talking on those places, and
Yes.
by that time, you will have some sort of experience, fine tuning of your own skills. Not that you do not have skills, but even to this state, after more than say 2500 live shows, I'm still learning. So
Yeah.
you will, as a guest, also see, today I'm a guest on Aditya's show, so I'm also learning at this point in time as a podcast guest. So you will get to fine tune your skills. You will get to understand how you look, how you sound, how you share the expertise that you have. You may be the best experts, but to also express it in the right manner, which is, it is a continuous learning skill. Once you do that, you will have some sort of, some sort of a biodata sort of a thing that you can share with other bigger podcasts. And then there are places you can, you can try. There are different matching tools in terms of podcasting world. There you can try out, you
Mhm.
can network with podcasters. LinkedIn is the big place. And then bit by bit, as you will see that you are chiseling your own skills as a podcast guest, you
Mhm.
will find that you are getting invites. You will start reaching out to podcasts. See, podcasts look for value. You will become more valuable. Once you understand those, that you are becoming more valuable, it will reflect not only in your skills, it will also reflect in your personality, and it will also reflect in the growth that you will see in terms of personal life as well as your career.
Now, since you mentioned, I was about to ask about this thing where people are not specifically experts, right? They've just started a new business and they want to talk about this new business, right? They'll say, because it's happened with me a couple of times. Okay, people have found their profile looks attractive and all. Okay, and then you start doing this conversation. But then in some point of time, you feel like the guest is just a huge facade, right? How do you deal with such guests in the episode?
Okay, so that is from the podcast host point of view. So,
Yeah.
as a podcast host, you have to be very smart in that sense.
Yeah.
Even you may be the best person in the world,
Mhm.
but when it comes down to choosing your guests, you got to be smart. So, you have to have systems in place,
Uh,
mental systems in place, as well as real systems in place. You have to understand podcasting is growing like anything.
Yeah.
And the latest figures tell that every day, even as if one podcast guest or host gets in average, maybe not me, not Aditya perhaps, but every podcast guest, some sort of stuff, they get more than 47 to 50 emails per day.
Right.
So with growth, you will get more and more such queries. And who are these people?
Mm-hmm.
They are there only. Many of them are there just to seek exposure, free exposure for themselves.
Right.
They are not there to give anything to you. They
Mm-hmm.
are there to take away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to segregate that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And as a podcast host, you have to be very sure about that, because you have your first duty towards your platform. You have to first duty towards your audience. They are coming not to you, they are coming to your audience. So
Right.
make sure that you have those filters in place.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure have your questionnaires ready. Do not invite just everyone. Make sure that you are inviting guests who have who have got much more details. It's not only through a PR
Right.
agency who is getting money out of that. Make
Right.
sure from everywhere else, and always reserve the right to cancel such guests, to say no to any those guests at any point in time. Not that if you have, say, by whatever means, you have said yes, it does not mean it has to be yes in perpetuity. It does not work for your platform. Kindly say it does not fit, it does not align with what you were looking for, and just
Right.
be more truthful towards yourself, be more towards truthful towards your platform, and bit by bit you will get that intuition much more correct. Yeah, and I till today I make so many mistakes in terms of guests, but then I have learned more things. I have become much more intentional in terms of that I will cancel if the guest does not show alignment. And you see, some are very smart. They will be very nice to you for several days. One fine morning, you will understand that they are not the ideal guest you would like to have.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
and cancel it. Don't feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how it is. I mean, yeah, I've had a couple of guests. They felt very nice. The profile looked good. I start talking to them, and then some of their answers start sounding bogus, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I even want to launch this episode. But since I've done it, might as well launch it, and can decide if the episode is worth listening to, right? That kind of thing. So I have that mentality as well going forward. So because the audience is a great testing tool, I mean, not a tool, but a platform, right, where people can decide whether this episode is worth watching. The views will decide whether this was a good guest or not. Have you ever faced that?
Right. Views will decide, Aditya, but you see, it's not always the
Mhm.
views. You see,
Okay.
as a podcaster,
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants that they get hundreds and thousands of people watching their show.
Yeah.
So there are two aspects of it. Where are the views? When
Uh-huh.
you talk about views, I will tell you that in YouTube or any other platform that you are putting in, not the podcast platform, I'll come to that. The views may not be so big, but
Right.
then that is not just podcasting. It is not big only for today.
Mm-hmm.
But as your algorithm will become better, you will understand yourself better. The views will, and not only for that, you say after 1 year, your views start getting better. It will also boost the views of your past episodes. Okay. And
Right.
more people will, it's like a writer. When
Yeah.
that writer is not very known, people don't read it much. Then one fine morning, they are very known.
Yeah.
All their past books get sold out, and
Right.
new editions come in. So that is one part.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, if you look at the audio platforms now, if even audio platforms like Spotify, they have got video also,
Yeah.
but Apple and all. So
Mm.
that they only show in terms of the downloads, they only show some part of the picture. You
Right.
must look at other platforms, agencies which are giving you much more data. There you will see that even though your audio or video plays and all those things are, say, 100 in number,
Mm-hmm.
but in other platforms you will find it's thousands in number. That is the data which podcast industry is trying to collate, that you can get in one place. Bit by bit, that will get much more, much more synchronized, much more calibrated. So
Yeah.
as a podcast host, You should not don't only look at numbers. Look at the numbers for guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the number for fine tuning your focus,
Yeah.
but also look at the impact of podcasting in your own life.
Yeah.
More than the numbers, look at yourself, how it is chiseling your life. So the numbers will speak whenever the time will come,
Yeah.
but the impact of podcasting on you positively, it
Mm-hmm.
will start, and see the connection of yours with your audience.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing that you carry on. People, just if you see only 50 people have listened to your show, put them in a room, and then you will know 50 people means a lot many people. They know so
Yeah.
many people do not turn up everywhere.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, two parts of what you said resonate a lot because just in my previous one of my previous episodes, I had a guest who said that yeah, when you go out on social media, start creating content, the numbers will not matter because they will not be the motivating force that you're going out with, right? Because one episode or one video will have 17 views or just 17 likes, then you're not motivated to get to the next video. You're not creating content for that. You're creating value for the audience. And then that is what is motivating us to create more content or get connected to more people like that. And yeah, the next one as well.
Absolutely.
So, when I was going since we started talking about social media. I just wanted to know you're there on every major platform. I checked. You're on TikTok. You're on Threads. You're on X. You're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I don't know. There must be quite a few more as well. So, how are you managing so many social media platforms? As I don't know, as a podcaster, full-time podcaster, or as a regular person, how are you handling so many social media platforms?
So, see, firstly, TikTok, we are both Indians, we cannot access TikTok. But wherever there is TikTok, whatever, I try and use that TikTok thing and
Hmm.
put something else, say
Yeah.
maybe you put another platform link. Why? Because TikTok is very famous outside. So
Yeah.
people will click perhaps less of YouTube, but they will certainly click the TikTok part. So
Right.
put your biggest link down there and click TikTok segment wherever it is available, because we don't have TikTok available. So that is
Yeah.
one small smart way you can get
Uh-huh.
some sort of
Mhm.
attention to your that
Okay.
particular link. In terms of in terms of being on many platforms, there are many platforms, but some of the platforms as a podcaster you can try and utilize. I come from a journalism background, so
Hmm.
that helps in terms of content. But then social media is we everyone is the same. I did not have any particular training. But one thing I realized is that Aditya, is that there are so many tools available. You
Right.
can utilize those tools to automate a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
Some are very available in terms of free,
Hmm.
then they have got the paid version. There are so many tools, but generally what is famous is Zapier.
Okay.
Zapier, I don't haven't used it much. I tried it a couple of times, but I think it's more for people who have got a hang of this. But
Mm.
then there is another tool called IFTTE. If this, then that, something like
Right.
that. Okay, that's the full form.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that is it has a free version also. Try with that, and there you can do those automations. So, for example, if you've got YouTube video, your show goes on YouTube, then you can automate it to go, and you can do multiple automation. For example, I don't go and post on Twitter or X myself,
Hmm.
but I have used that automation, that it will also go at the same time on my Twitter account, X account,
Hmm.
as well as it will also go on my Facebook page. So as soon
Okay.
as a video hits my YouTube channel, it will also go on a couple of places.
Right.
Now, suppose if you go for a paid version,
Uh-huh.
and then you got more options, and
Yeah.
this way you can spread yourself, so you don't have to worry about
Mm.
sharing the same thing once you automate it. Likewise, there are, because I'm not a technical person, there are so many automation tools available, isn't it? Like, you see, before coming into podcasting, I didn't use any calendar tools. We
Uh-huh.
were much more informal about, but now we use Calendly, many people use somewhere else. And now you see, we know more about scheduling and all these things.
Yeah.
It helps you without need to tell people how you are available, when you are available. it does all the work for you.
Yeah.
In the same way, utilize all this is learning.
Mm.
Once you learn it, it will start helping you, in many aspects of whatever you do, not only in podcasting, but it will also, as I said, fine tune you, make you much more elegant, efficient in your
Yeah.
every other area of life, especially in the professional life, and you
Mm.
will see that change happening.
Right. Yeah, because it matters, right? The little conversations, the little trinkets we have from each conversation comes up somewhere, and then we take it forward to the next person, and that's how it is. So from a business perspective, okay, for people going out in business, we talked a lot about podcasting, but now if we talk about business perspective, leveraging social media, okay, has been a major thing these days, right? It's become very important for most types of businesses. Now, how have people been telling you, or what are some tips that you've got off from guests that you've had?
Absolutely. So everybody utilizes this, social media in their own way. Even I treat what I do, my
Mm.
podcasting and everything, as I said, being from a journalism background, this is what I know. Content is what I know. So I
Right.
look at what I do as a part of my content, entrepreneurship, and
Yes.
everything works in that direction. We may not charge guests directly, or
Yeah.
if we ever do that in
Mm.
terms of a marketing arrangement, then we will declare it.
Yes.
But that does not stop us to look at it
Mm.
from a media business, media content entrepreneurship, in
Mm.
terms of sponsorship, in terms
Yeah.
of affiliate marketing, in terms of so many other consulting, so
Yeah.
many, you can create your own expertise. You can start doing that even now.
Mm.
So people want to learn, and
Yeah.
once they think that you are the right person to learn, no harm in earning some money out of it, isn't it? So
Mhm.
this is the way people sell their products now. It's much more of a digital product you create. So you create a ecosystem which is going to help you as a business. So this is one part of you as a business owner. Other business owners, they utilize tools in their own manner, but see, social media is the same.
Yeah.
Social media is the same. Either Instagram is the same,
Mhm.
maybe they will be using it in the form of an Instagram business account,
Yeah.
isn't it? Facebook is the same. But yes, if they are hiring an agency, they will work differently. But
Mm.
as a small business owner, you
Yeah.
work in a different manner.
Yes.
And if you look at it from a social media point of view,
Mhm.
then you utilize the same output that is called podcast in video form or audio form. You utilize it and push it out. But in terms of social media, I would suggest, don't go and spread yourself thin. Look at where your audience is mainly.
Right.
One or two platforms maximum.
Uh-huh.
You just cultivate those, build them. If you try to reach everywhere,
Uh-huh.
as I said, I don't try to reach everywhere. My main platforms are in terms of video. So
Right.
video is on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then if I have to look at from a social media point of view,
Mhm.
it's also, I'm on more active on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Though the podcast or video is available on, say, Instagram, in terms of short reels and all, but I don't do it intentionally. I automate it
Right.
so that it takes very less amount of time, and it gives an impression that you are. That is where the power of automation is,
Mm.
isn't it? You can do it in the same manner, but don't spread yourself thin. In
Uh,
terms of, say, for example, if you are on, and always ensure that instead of just spreading things on social media,
uh-huh.
bring people to your own website.
Okay.
Rest is all, rented land. It
Uh-huh.
can just get done away with at any point in time, but
Yeah.
your own website is the place which should be the main one. So
Okay.
I'm still trying to work on that.
Uh-huh.
But bring those people there.
Mm.
There you can always uh, deal with them better, treat them better, and that is where you can also educate them about your product and
Mhm.
services. If you are looking, so same way businesses do, they just don't go and sell on, say, social media.
Yeah.
They just go, they do it in a way, but they bring people to their websites.
Yeah.
That is the biggest difference. And obviously they have some market bandwidth, so they go for advertisement as per their
Mm.
thing and all. Okay, but I'm not a digital marketer in that sense. But we can say we are all, we are tools for digital market in terms of
Uh-huh.
a podcast is now growing in like anything, and especially with video podcast. Yours is a video podcast. You also put it out on audio also. From that point of view, I see it growing.
Yeah, because a lot of people come on, they go on multiple podcasts just for the sake of, not, I mean, obviously not just for the sake of exposure, but also to spread value. But then they see these podcasts as a way of creating credibility, right? A lot of guests are just going on podcasts, and I see this trend a lot. I mean, there are people who have done like 300, 400 episodes with different podcasters, and then they might be saying the same thing again and again. But how does a regular listener find the gold out of this, I don't know, haystack?
Absolutely. So you don't listen to all their episodes, and you don't listen to them again and again. Okay, and that is where you have to make sure that you are looking at people from your point of view. What helps you the most, and that is where I forgot to mention it in the earlier question, is that use so many summary tools that are available in the market.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to listen to the full video of anything.
Uh-huh.
Listen to, maybe you can see that particular tool. You can ask it, if you feel that this video is still okay for you, then use the summarizer.
Uh-huh.
And if you use it through, say, through chat gpt or anything, then it will just ask it the question, that does it answer this part in this whole summary. So
Mhm.
even for a 2-hour video, it will bring you that part. And the good part is that there are many tools available. You can just reach that particular section, say
Yeah.
maybe of 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and in 10 minutes you are done with that. So you
Right.
got to be very intentional, very focused. When learning has to happen,
Yeah.
no beating around the bush. If
That's
you
right.
are enjoying something, that is different.
Uh,
But if you look at it from the learning point of view, once you have zeroed in that this is the person, so you got to look at credibility.
yeah.
Don't go on guests who are fly by night operators. They don't go on there wanting to, they're wanting to get something for themselves, where you are the one who they are trying to sell something. Those are not always the best places for you to learn. There
Yeah.
are many experts whose job is to, who are so successful themselves, that knowledge sharing itself is the core aim for them. So that is where you will find a lot of value. So as a listener also, it's like
Yeah.
you decide for movies, isn't it? You don't go and watch every movie in a theater, isn't it?
Right.
You got to be very intentional in terms of, in terms of audio video that you are listening or
Mm.
watching. So that will give you, after some time, you go to so many podcast places, look at the top ones, look at search, do a bit of, you will become experienced, like you become experienced in life. We all learn, keep on learning every day.
Now, it's just that since I brought that up, I also, so what I do is like I have this free flowing conversation, right? I've seen a lot of people and I've heard from a lot of guests that, yeah, this other podcaster had a specific set of questions. They had a pre-interview where they said, yeah, these are the questions that we'll be having, and this is how the flow will go. And it's like, how is it even a conversation when everything has been decided before, right? It's just acting out something, and then how are we deciding that this is what the audience wants rather than having a free flowing conversation and then letting the audience decide for themselves? So that is just some background philosophy that I have when trying to run the show and having this conversation. Any comments on that?
No, yeah. You are absolutely right. See, you have to understand the podcasting landscape. Uh, Podcasting landscape, it means the threshold for becoming a podcaster is very low. Anyone, even without having anything, can record anything and they can say that they are a podcaster. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Everybody is at a different stage, but a lot of them have expertise in one area, no expertise in many other areas. Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of them have, they want to try it out, but they are, for instance, I come from a journalism background. I
Yeah.
may have a better sense of, balance and correctness and accuracy and objectivity and everything. Now we cannot expect that from everyone.
Right.
Secondly, the knowledge level, comfort, they are also trying to learn. So podcasting gives you that bandwidth to experiment. Since you are the host, you can decide on the way. Some
Yeah.
some want to have pre-conversation to check if the guest is right. Even
Yeah.
the guest wants to check if the host is
Okay.
right.
Right. Yes.
you know
Yeah.
either I don't do it because if I do it for half an hour, my show gets over in 20 minutes.
Right.
So for me it is, so I devise a different way to filter and to understand the guest. That is where your research. Secondly is the knowledge base, Aditya. You don't like it because you have a good knowledge base, so
Mhm.
you are confident. You know that I will be able to ask questions which are right for my audience with
Mhm.
my knowledge base, and your knowledge base will keep on increasing,
Yeah.
becoming better. I also don't do these sort of things. I don't like it that way. As I said, it does not work for me. I will lose interest after that. Okay, so that is there. But a lot of people in outside this, they want, as I said, people want their own comfort level. Not
Right.
everybody has the same amount of knowledge base. Maybe tomorrow they will not do it the same way they are doing today, isn't it? You
Yeah.
see, there are so many live streamers. We
Yes.
are not, we may do, I do live shows, you may also do live shows, but we are not streamers, gamers.
Yes.
So many of
Yeah.
them, and they do marathon in terms of life, so their thing is so different, all those things can,
Yeah.
they do it in the same way. Every podcast host is in their own journey, in their own
Yeah.
time, and in the way they have decided it. Many people want it to be scripted. Several people ask me also in terms of that, can you share some questions? I tell there are no questions because I myself don't know. It is all
Yeah.
unscripted,
Yeah.
but we all try and get to their one pager. As a host also, you should have about your own one pager. You can ask them, so that at least you have some gist of, and
Mhm.
the rest of the work is that your questionnaire, not questionnaire, but booking form should have some sort of a semblance, so that you get an idea what the guest wants, but you know what you want and what is right for your audience, and by bit you will put everything in right shape and direction.
Thank you so much, Ajay. I mean, I don't know if it was a masterclass for me or it was a masterclass for the audience, but yeah, listeners, audience, guests, everybody got something out of this episode. Thank you so much for joining in. It was just amazing having this conversation from the podcasting point of view. Uh, so, where can people get in touch with you? We already discussed that you have so many, but yeah,
it's
still.
it's a it's a Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Aditya. It felt like home itself, and very very comfortable. So whenever there is anything, people can connect with me. I just mentioned that in LinkedIn you can always just type my name, and you will find me there. So that is one place which is, the interface is much more comfortable from my understanding. So I know, okay, there is a notification, there is a message, I will be able to respond to it. Other platforms I'm there, but I'm not so coherent in
Okay.
terms of the notification here. But you can write, so LinkedIn, I would suggest, is the best place for me to understand that, okay, you have written to me, or you have left something, you have want to connect with me. That is the one place I would. Rest is, my website is there, that is also there. We have got the messaging, the kjmasterclass.live. So there you can leave a message. There is a that thing also comes, because it comes directly to my email, so I
Right.
will be able to see it and respond to it immediately.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thanks for joining me in on this episode of Your Lab Central. To the audience who's been listening and watching intently on this episode, if you like the episode, do leave a like. The comment section is always open for suggestions, perspectives. If you have something to add, do leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you've not subscribed yet. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much, Ajay.